security question. Migingo, the island of Migingo, all of you have 30 seconds just to quickly say, is it in Kenya or not? And if it is, what should you as president do to assure the people of Migingo that they are part of Kenya? Leader, 30 seconds.
Just repeat the question, please.
Migingo, do you know Migingo Island?
Yeah.
Is it Kenya? Is it part of Kenya?
Well, there's a problem. We just read the newspaper and we see governments fighting over it. I think the experts can really give us the clear demarcations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Professor Kiepe?
It's a tiny island on Lake Victoria, and really we must get proper facts, because otherwise you can polarize regional politics for nothing.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kenyatta. Migingo.
Migingo is in Kenya. However, the truth of the matter is that there exist disputes as a result of not having clear maps that have been registered at the UN. So I think what needs to be done is for all our borders, with our neighbors, to embark on an exercise that ensures that we demarcate all our borders and get these fully registered. I don't think it's a subject to go to war at. I think, and I do believe, through negotiation and discussion with our neighbors, that issue can be resolved. But in the longer term, I think what needs to be done is to ensure that all our boundaries are properly marked out and registered so as to prevent future conflict over boundaries.
Thank you. Honorable Kenneth.
Any demarcated part of our country must be safeguarded. Not a single inch. Despite the fact that we must practice good neighborhoodness with our countries, not a single inch of Kenya should be inched out to any person. Not any person should take a piece of our part. And I'll be very clear on that. As long as it's demarcated, we must fight for it. We must keep it in our country.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mudavadi.
Migingo is in Kenya. And all we need to do is to make sure that the instruments that deal with our external boundaries are properly registered, both within the United Nations system and equally within the African Union system, because that is where the element of confusion arises. But the fact of the matter is that Migingo is in Kenya, we must keep it in Kenya, and we must use diplomacy to convince our neighbors that there is no benefit whatsoever in trying to tamper with Migingo.
Thank you very much. Honorable Karua.
Migingo is in Kenya, and the joint survey that was conducted between Uganda and Kenya firmly found that Migingo was within our boundaries. What is not clear is why the current executive, of which we have 4 members here, has not moved to settle the issue. And settling the issue doesn't mean going to war. There are many diplomatic ways of settling the issue through international law, because we must respect the maps and the boundaries. So it is a letdown that the current executive has not claimed Migingo. As president, I would not let such a matter stay for such a long time. It needs to be resolved instant.
Thank you. And there's a charge that Honorable Odinga should address as Prime Minister. Why have you done nothing about the Migingo issue?
Well, Migingo, as the others have said, is in Kenya. We did actually discuss with the Ugandan government and set up a joint surveying team consisting of experts from Uganda and Kenya. That survey work has not been completed because of certain technical issues from the other side. Uganda is a friendly neighbor, and it's actually inconceivable that 2 countries could go to war over a piece of rock on the lake. We are trying to resolve this matter peacefully with Uganda, because we are now trying to move towards the East African Federation. So we don't want the little issue of Migingo to mar the relationship between Kenya and Uganda.
And finally, the final say on the Migingo issue tonight goes to Paul Mwite.
I think it is unacceptable that we should be forced as a country to be negotiating about Migingo when Uganda, a friendly country, is actually occupying. And they occupied recently. It was used to be occupied by Kenyans. And they are now being given orders by police officers, army officers from Uganda. I certainly would deploy the Navy. Uganda fortunately doesn't have a Navy. I'll take it there. Then we negotiate. After I've told the Ugandans who occupied wrongfully to go back, then the survey work can continue. And it is not just Migingo. We need also to resolve the issue of Elemi Triangle. We've got African Union, we've got the United Nations. Let us make our boundaries secure and then have our army to secure. Let's make every Kenyan within our boundaries secure. It is unacceptable that people can come from outside, go to Turkana, kill people, not once, twice, or 3 times. We must respect the life of every Kenyan within our boundaries.
Thank you very much, Honorable Muita. And indeed, that will be the final comment of part 1 of this presidential debate, coming to you live from the Brookhouse School here in Nairobi. And my colleague is here. Julie will be taking you through part 2 of the debate.
I certainly will. 1.5 hours already gone.